Back earlier this year, the Memphis Police Department announced a new initiative, a joint initiative to get domestic violence offenders behind bars and to protect children and families.
And joining us now to talk about the Domestic Violence Repeat Offender Initiative is Forrest Edwards with MPD's Investigative Counsel. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Joe and Kim.
Good to have you. Since this initiative started, what kind of progress has been made in targeting domestic violence and especially repeat offenders?
So I want to talk a little bit about the purpose of this initiative. We looked at data for the last 5 years of the most prolific domestic violence offenders in Memphis. And we sought to identify those individuals and come up with a comprehensive strategic plan with our law enforcement partners as well as community partners in order to address the domestic violence problem that we're faced with here. So we set up alert systems on these individuals, and when they encounter police, we already know who they are, and we're able to act swiftly to give that information to the district attorney's office, to the U.S. attorney's office, to probation and parole, and we're also able to help the survivors get the services that they need.
Wonderful.
And so what's the federal, you mentioned that the United States government is involved here. What's the federal component of this?
Yes, so the U.S. Attorney's Office has partnered with us for this initiative, and there is a interstate stalking attribute to the domestic violence where, you know, as we're in the corner of Tennessee, if an offender comes across state lines to Arkansas or Mississippi in order to commit a crime here, that is a sufficient federal nexus for federal prosecution, as well as if the offender is previously convicted of domestic assault or under a order of protection and commit a new crime, that is a nexus for federal prosecution. So we're working with the U.S. Attorney's Office to present those cases to go federal.
Okay. And this initiative also connects a lot of state and county resources. What kind of help does the initiative provide for victims?
So for our survivors of domestic violence, we are partnered with the YWCA as well as the Neighborhood Christian Center. And through our Violent Crime Initiative Fund, we seek to provide a holistic approach to survivors of domestic violence, and we call it a wraparound approach. So from the moment that they become a survivor of domestic violence, we're here to refer them to community partners that can provide them with emergency housing, financial assistance, child care, really anything that a survivor of domestic violence may need. We are here to make that referral and make sure that they get that help.
And this is a complex crime because it's so personal. Children may be involved. It's usually the spouse, the female spouse, who is the one who's the victim. And then she is sometimes reluctant to call in a charge against her attacker, and she has the safety of her children to consider. And so it's a complex, but share with us the importance of reporting this crime.
It is so important that the Memphis Police Department created this initiative to show survivors of domestic violence that we stand with you. If you do your part and report that initial crime, we will do everything in our power to make sure that we have your back through the beginning and end of the process.
And I'm assuming it's also a very big problem here in our area as well.
It is, but as part of this initiative, we're actually seeing aggravated assaults pertaining to domestic violence decrease for the first time this year.
Oh, wow.
And I would like to think that that is due in part to this initiative.
Wonderful.
And what are some of the things that your agency and other agencies that serve domestic violence victims think they need? More housing? Is that one thing?
I would defer to our community partners, but I think that they just need support and know that we take this seriously and that it's a crime that hits so close to home and affects everyone, and it's a crime that you may not even know is happening to people that are close to you. And so we are here to provide every possible resource that we can to these survivors.
And it is the call that every day MPD is out on, numerous times a day.
Absolutely.